appearance at the IISS forum in Manama. I spoke in Arabic, so for matters of relevance here, I'll speak in English, and I hope I can get my message through. Now, definitely, we're navigating these days a very turbulent stage of the history of the Middle East, and we necessarily need to formulate a guiding principle of how we meet these troubling times and how we meet the challenges that are exponentially growing rather than receding during this epoch of these last 3 to 6 years. The spring, or the Arab Spring, and its aftermath has resulted in fundamental changes in this region, which needs to be addressed and which needs to be fully absorbed if we are to regain the equilibrium and stability of this region and its ensuing ripple effects on the security and stability of Europe and the world at large. We believe that to do so, we need to base our approach on 2 main principles. One is that the change that arose in 2011, the call for a more representative and more democratic representation of governance in the region was well-intentioned and certainly very appropriate, and that to undertake this transformation, we need not to have destroyed in any manner the nation-state as we have known it and as it has contributed since the end of World War II to the stability of international peace and security and to the world order. This orderly change is necessary if we are to meet the aspirations of more than 60% of the populations of the region which are under the age of 30 and which need not only political but also economic evolution to be able to see a rising degree of economic prosperity. So it is an orderly change built on the maintenance of the integrity and stability of the nation-state. And experience has shown that undermining the institutions of the nation-states has created a vacuum in some places, which was quickly filled by primordial institutions, by non-state actors, by sectarian militias, by terrorist organizations. And these certainly have been the main destabilizing factors of the region during this period. Achieving the orderly change must be a nationally owned process and is conducive to stability and prosperity. We have to, in this regard, recognize that all the crises of our region follow the same pattern, which is troubled states which are unresponsive to the aspirations of their people and subsequently the disintegration of the state entity. We believe that striking the delicate balance between the need for change and the ability to absorb such change need not be replaced by dysfunctional governance, but on the contrary, a more representative and more inclusive governance. We've learned this lesson the hard way, but we have certainly in Egypt been able to regain our equilibrium and to instill through a democratic process the necessary change and continue to address the rejuvenation of our society, both in political, economic, and social terms. And if we can undertake this transformation, we are certain that the rest of the region can also be successful in this regard. But for us to achieve this stability, we have to address seriously one of the potential risks, which is the rise of terrorism. And I think we can all agree that during this period, we have seen terrorists and terrorist organizations expanding, despite the successes in Iraq and in other places. We still see that the decline of terrorist ability in one area can have the potential of leading to a rise in another. We see the humanitarian sufferings in Syria and the continuing military struggle. and the lack of endorsement of a political solution by all states of the region and the international community at the expense of the Syrian people, half of which have been displaced and 500,000 have lost their lives. And the status quo in this regard cannot be maintained. In Libya, we again have to rely on a peaceful resolution based on the UN-brokered Sukhairat agreement. Here again, we are struggling with the competing forces of tribalism, sectarianism, ideological differences, personal rivalries, and a divergence in the regional and international perspectives related to how best to deal with the situation in Libya. And confounded, of course, is the continuing stagnation of the peace process. The Palestinian-Israeli conflict remains the main priority to be resolved if we are to consolidate the security and the stability of this region. And though despite the fact that we all have a well-defined knowledge of the parameters of a two-state solution and the impact of the end of the conflict on the region and on stability, it remains elusive that the international community and regionally were unable to proceed. But again, I think the most important segment and area that can have the most impact in the overall conditions of the Middle East is the solidarity within the states of the region, and especially within the Arab domain. It is only through the solidarity, the cohesiveness of common action and approach of the Arab states within the League of Arab Nations and States, or within the special bilateral relations that bind the Arab states, within the abilities that collectively are present in each individual state, can we meet the preservation of national Arab security requirements. The greater is our solidarity, the greater is our ability to develop common strategies to resolve the challenges and problems of the region, the greater is the success rate in terms of regaining the stability and security of our region. We need to accept change as a benevolent societal progress for the future. We need to embrace democratization, economic development and reform, and social justice, protection of human rights as all prerequisites to a more vibrant, more representative part of the international community in this region. And this is what we strive for in Egypt, and this is what I believe we will be successful in once again regaining our ability to impact not only our region from the successes that will be derived from the Egyptian experience, but also to show that this area of the world, within the solidarity among its states, within the resources at its disposal, can have a determined impact on our security and future and that of the rest of the world. Thank you very much.